Good afternoon, non-farm payrollers. How are we all doing? Afternoon, Baggy, Michael, William. Welcome aboard. Wonder if anybody will be here today. An hour ahead of usual, so everyone's going to be like, what? Non-farm payroll. So, the big afternoon. Afternoon, Iris? Iris? That's right. Afternoon-ish, Brian. Let's have a quick look at this morning. What's gone on? Not a lot. Pretty good, actually, this morning. Had a very good morning today. Morning, Fletch. Afternoon, even. Billingo. Hello. Anna. Hello. ADR reversal set files. Done virtually nothing today. 0.6, sitting in 3.5%. Could bank some stuff, but it's just sitting there really because we haven't really gone anywhere. H1M5 0 today because we haven't gone anywhere. Sitting in 0.13. Very high probability of going green this afternoon, which would be really weird being green on a Friday. H4M5 again. Oh, look, could go green right now. Banked 0.31 today, so that's up to 5.38% this month. H1 hedging set file. Storming it with a 2.3% day, 9.5% this week. Huge week. I feel a video coming on tomorrow. We've had a monster week this week. 3.17% in drawdown. Very little drawdown. That's Swiss yen. Still hasn't closed that Swiss yen out. Look. How have you got to do to close that Swiss yen out? I'll get on this then. What's ADR? 156. Did I do an aggressive DD on that? Did I do a manual? Where are we? Targets. Half an ADR. Why is that not closed out then? Bear with me a sec. Quite sure why that's not closed. Swiss yen. H1 hedge. This is H4. Not quite sure why that's not closed out. I'm going to close that out because that should be shut, surely. H1 hedge, yeah. Am I missing something here? Why is that not closed, that trade out? Closing profit at half an ADR. The I is 156. Closed out some drawdown control. I haven't got baskets. Right, 1 second. Let me just check something. Baskets. Where are we? Multi-direction? No. Weird. Anyway, I'll just let it run. It should shut itself out. Hey, what the hell? Anyway, yeah, banking loads of money, which is great. Hello, everybody. Sorry. Kevin, Virginia, John, Europe, DARP. Is Trade Manager Dashboard included in the EA? No, it's a totally separate product. This is a separate thing. Nothing to do with the EA. Right, non-farm payroll in 3 minutes. So I'm going to watch the pound US dollar. And we will watch the Dow because we should get an inverse reaction on that. So non-farm payroll basically is all revolving around unemployment rates. So that's the important thing. The 3.6 is the forecast. So they are expecting unemployment to go up. If we get an a previous or lower than previous, we should get a really nice pop on the US dollar. If we come out as expected, it might be a bit of a whipsaw. Same with the Canadian unemployment. They are 5%, expecting a 0.1 increase. So therefore, if we get a 5 or a 4.9, we will get a big pop on the Canadian dollar. So we'll see what happens with these two. We've had a little bit of news from the ECB this morning. ECB are expecting a rate rise in July. Thursday's rate rise wasn't the last. Inflation at 5.6 versus 5.9 previous for 2023. So they're just adjusting their projections a little bit. And basically, UBS now expects 0.25% hike in July, taking the terminal rate to 3.75, which I think is probably a little bit optimistic. 3.75 for the euro. That is what we're on. How can you call that as a terminal rate? You can't say it's going to go up and then say the terminal rate will be 3.75. We are on 3.75. Surely you mean 4. But anyway, another rate hike coming on the euro. Right, we have 50 seconds to go. Hold on to your hats. Afternoon, it's time. Afternoon, Venugopal. Probably said that completely wrong. So, watching my charts at the moment. So, we've got a little bit of upward movement on the Dow, pre-non-farm. Widening of spreads, I should imagine, in about 5 seconds. And we'll see what sort of reaction we get to this. We'll watch the CAD as well. A little bit of jittery coming in. There goes the spreads. Super wide spreads. Super wide spreads. Here we go. Boing. Massive positive US. Dow's not had much reaction. US dollar Swiss 175 ADR. So big positive news. I would imagine that is a decrease in unemployment. Unemployment, there we go, 3.4. So we got it. So there you go, 3.4. Canadians, 0.5. Exactly what I just said. So bullish Canadian, bullish US. Indices will probably come down. I'm just adjusting a couple of stops. Go short. So shorting the indices, shorting the Dow basically. Weekly range hit on the pound Swiss. Everything will be going mental. US dollar CAD, a little bit of a whipsaw on that. Big push on US dollar Swiss. US dollar yen, I've just got out of US dollar yen. Hey, we banked something. Another 1%. It's 11%. Oh, this must be getting on for a 30% week. This is a monster week. This could be the biggest month ever. So, cut. Swiss yen still hasn't banked. Why is it not banking? I'm just going to close that manually. I'm not quite sure why that's not banked. Close it. Just going to manually close this. That one and that one. There we go. So that's the Swiss yen shut. So yeah, 11% on the hedging set file, 6% on H4M5. So that's 17. 11% on H1M5. So that's 28. And ADRs have done 2.5. So that's 30, pretty much 31% this week. Big week. Right. So yeah, US dollar yen, just close that out. Pound US dollar, retraced all of that movement. Euro US dollar, retracing as well. Let's look at the CADs. Aussie dollar CAD, that's just starting a little bit of a retracement. Euro CAD as well. So these might be sustained, they might not. We'll see what happens. Dow, not really doing an awful lot. Right, we'll wait for this to pan out, give it this 5-minute candle, and then we'll have a look at where the market's going to potentially go from here. Brian emailed Fidel 3 hours ago with a screenshot of the news. Haven't heard back, so I decided to close an Aussie dollar, US dollar short just in case. Yeah. You're okay. You can hold over the news with Fidelcrest. They don't say you can't hold. They say you can't take trades 5 minutes before or after. They don't say anything about closing trades during news. It's only you can't open. So you should be all right to trade over the news. Venu Gopal. Can I use the Market Reverse Alerts EA or the ORBA EA to pass my Forex funds valuation? Yes, of course you can. Yeah. Mumo. So should we fire up ORB on the Dow and the DAX? What on? I wouldn't on this. You could do if you wanted to. I mean, you could trade that. It's likely we're going to put in all the volume now off the back of this news, and then we're not going to have an open today, which is why I'm not bothering to come on at 2:30 today, because the market will probably be very quiet after this. All the volume will be going in now. Right, so there's your 5-minute in. So that's the news candle. Not particularly massive. So we'll see what happens with these. So potentially Euro CAD 125, its weekly range. So potentially now we'll get a rally off the back of this. So that's all good news for the Canada and US unemployment figures. So positive across the board there. So we should get decent moves on these. How far? We'll have to wait and see. You may well also get a retracement into it and then a push. So if it does pull back into there, there's a good opportunity for a long. But obviously bear in mind, this is now done 200% of its average daily range already. So, you know, with news, that is quite often the move a lot of the time. So not necessarily going to get huge continuations off of this. Pushing into propulsion there as well. So we might find some resistance. So a lot of these, basically, you tend to find they are just whipsaws. As I said this morning, there's not really a massive amount of reason for the unemployment figures for the Canadian or the US to make a sustained move, because we're hitting terminal rates on them. So if the unemployment figures are coming down, that's great. It's not going to take the pressure off putting interest rates up, because they don't want to put them up anymore anyway. So there's no real massive reason to go, oh, great, the unemployment figures are down. Let's pile a load of money into the US dollar. So we might find that what we're going to do is just get a kind of whipsaw and then continuation on these. But we'll see what happens. You can never tell. JC, Fidelcrest closed my account when I was nowhere near the drawdown limit. Well, they wouldn't close your account if you were nowhere near the drawdown limit. And if they did, you would email them and say, wait, why did you close my account? And they will give you a reason. Eries, can I buy euros now? If you want to, yeah. Not stopping you. My live account's done 12% this week. Won't need to trade for the rest of the month. Yeah, bring it, Baggy. It's been a monster week. It's been just one of those weeks. We had one in March as well, didn't we? March did 66% in March. Done 33% this week. So big week. Obviously, we have crap weeks as well. We had one of those as well in April, didn't we? So swings and roundabouts. Afternoon, David. My position trade on UJ played out nicely. There you go. There's my position trade on UJ. Yeah, nice push up, straight out, in, out, done. Likely that's going to push up into here now, or up into there. Right, so let's have a quick look at the ADRs off the back of that news. Dow's pushing up. I just shorted the Dow. I'm expecting the Dow to drop because I'm expecting the US dollar to rally. But the Dow seems to want to rally on positive US news, which is opposite of what we normally get. Big propulsion targets on the Dow to the upside. So we've got this big old area here, and we've got this propulsion gap here as well to the upside. Play into, so we may be pushing higher. Thanks for the follow, Ben. Welcome aboard. Right, ADRs. Loads of ADRs, as you can see, lit up like a Christmas tree at the moment. Most of this is all Swiss franc related, as you can see. So Aussie, everything Swissy basically today has gone crazy. So Aussie dollar Swiss, huge weakness in the Swiss franc. So big strong push to the upside, Aussie dollar Swiss. Coming up to a nice potential support resistance area. When's that from then? That's bang in the middle of a week, isn't it? That was just a spike. So we've got a nice potential resistance coming up here, which is 150 ADR, 150, 175 ADR, extended on the hourly. So potential spot for a short there. Not quite sure what to do with this Dow, to be honest. One sec. Just a whipsaw. So they've just taken the liquidity from both ends, basically. So all that lot basically has all been taken out, clearing the decks. Could go either way. This just a whipsaw by the looks of things. Certainly seems strong US, but yeah, it's good US actually. So if we got the US dollar pumping, what we should be seeing is index dropping, but doesn't seem to be doing that at the moment. So yeah, Aussie dollar Swiss, good opportunity for a short. Let me just quickly switch accounts over here because I might. Aussie Swiss, I've already got a short on, so I'm already short on that Aussie Swiss. So that's a good looking short opportunity. I've got one on already down here. We had a 5-minute reversal alert in there, so you could take a second up at the monthly. CAD Swiss, 200% ADR off. Obviously, the Canadian dollar's pushing now. Weak Swiss franc, just got a Canadian dollar rally, so obviously this is going through the roof. Euro Swiss driving up very, very hard as well. Nice rejection wicks there off of the weekly level, but it's pushing up again at the moment, so that's a good potential short. That's kind of done that gap, so all you've got really is gap targets to the downside coming back down into there at some point, so that's a good looking short as well. Got too much Swiss franc on, I can't take any more. Pound Swiss pushing up to the highs. One sell on that already from reversal alert today. That was an hourly RSI extension, so that's an H1M5 mean reversion. So that one is also an ADR, up to 200 ADR on the pound Swiss. Really weak Swiss franc today. New Zealand dollar Swiss pushing up 125 ADR, so good opportunity for a short there. That is a monthly resistance as well. Sorry, that's the old monthly. So going back That's that monthly low we're pushing up into. So this is the first retest of that level. Potentially for a move back down to there. Good looking short opportunity on that one. And US dollar Swiss, obviously that's piling long now because of the US dollar news. Traders of short-term US interest rate futures pricing small change in Fed rate hike in June. Interesting. So because obviously the unemployment figures have come down, it means that putting interest rates up again will have little impact on the job market, which is what they're worried about. The more you do that, the more unemployment tends to go up. As unemployment is coming down and they've put interest rates up, it means that it does allow them to push more on the interest rates. However, we're coming down at 1% a quarter on inflation, which is what interest rates are designed to combat. So there isn't really a need to go to 5.5. But the market are factoring in the potential now for a 5.5 terminal rate. Again, this is what I've been saying for the last month. Every time we get this is going to be our terminal rate, they sneak in another one. So as long as this keeps going down and that keeps going down, you can keep putting that up and it doesn't have any negative impact. However, if this starts to come down too fast, inflation, they will need to drop that very, very quickly. So I don't necessarily think that we will get another one, but we might do. So that's interesting. They've come out and they've factored in another rate hike in June. But it's a small chance. So what they're saying is, as we've got negative figures, there is a chance that we might put another hike. I don't think it's very likely. 125 New Zealand dollar CAD. So your other ADRs that we're getting hit now. So everything that Swiss franc is obviously off the scale today because the Swiss franc has collapsed completely. The only other things we've got hitting ADRs now are the Canadian pairs. So we've got the pound CAD, New Zealand CAD, the Euro CAD, and the Aussie CAD. So with all these Canadians, up to you if you want to take a mean reversion on them. The danger of taking a mean reversion on a fundamental shift is obviously it could just continue to go down to 200, 300 ADR. Depends whether or not the market is very, very happy with the unemployment figures or they've factored it in already. But we're starting to do all these fills off of the extensions that we had. So you would normally be in this direction anyway because you would have already been extended on RSIs and you'd be going short. So most of these probably you are already in them in the directions they're already headed. So there are opportunities obviously to try and mean revert them, but risky off the back of news, especially unemployment rate is one of the key leading indicators. So there's a good chance these will continue to push. So up to you on them. They are riskier today because these could easily, jump. So if you get in here and you go, I like that as a long back up into there, be prepared that you might have to scale in today all the way down to there and sit in this over the weekend. So just be a bit careful with these. RSIs, you're going to find also on the ADRs, you're going to find all these US dollars are going to light up in a minute as well. So Aussie US, likely that will come down and hit ADR as well. All the US pairs will probably get a little bit more strength on them. So yeah, see Euro's going to hit in a minute. Pound's on its way. New Zealand's about to hit. US yen's all on its way to hit. US dollar Swiss has obviously gone through the roof because of the Swiss franc. US dollar CAD, interestingly, has gone nowhere because we've just had, and this is what I said again this morning, we've got positive news and positive news equals a range. Yeah, so when you get two positives, they cancel each other out and you get range-bound activity. So we're going nowhere on the CAD, US dollar CAD. That's not the pair to trade in news. So there's all your ADRs. I would be wary about trading anything today. The Swiss francs, no problem shorting those. I've got a pound Swiss short on at the moment, and I've got an Aussie Swiss short on at the moment. So I'm short on this one. Back down into here somewhere, and I'm short on the pound Swiss. This account's got the H1M5 on as well, but I'm short on that as well. Anyway, back down into there, that high, or back down into the source. All looking pretty good. What's that Dow doing? Dow's pushing. Yarp. Is this the best week you ever had running the EAs simultaneously? Probably. One of them. It's just been a really, really nice, fluid week this week. So yeah, bank loads. Obviously, you get squeezed. We've just come out of a squeeze in mid to end of April. So it's the way the market goes. The market spends 80% of its time in mean reversion. And this is where all of my strategies are the best performances, because as long as the market is moving either in a range or it's moving in market structure up or down, all of the strategies will just play out and they will just continuously bank money. When you get into a squeeze and we go into a hard trend, that's when we struggle. So after a strong trend, you tend to get an accumulation phase. So we've just come out of a squeeze where some of the EAs went into a bit of drawdown and had bad months. I mean, they all made profit, but last month was marginal, 5%, 10% maxes. Now you're going into an accumulation stage. So you recoup all the money you had that you lost in the squeeze. This is the long-term edge, and this is what people don't pay attention to when they're looking at strategies and systems. You know, when you're system hopping from place to place to place, you pick up a strategy, you see results, you think this is brilliant, you start trading and it doesn't work out and you go, well, it's crap, and you chuck it away. What you don't realize is you've just joined it at the crap bit. Like people that started trading at the end of April with the market, with the mean reversion strategies, probably thought they were terrible. If they hopped off to another system or strategy, they just missed the 30% week. You know, it's just one of those things. Swings and roundabouts. It's a long-term edge. Everything is a long-term edge in trading. Nothing works all the time. So yeah, 30%, but that's across all strategies. Yeah, so you wouldn't trade all strategies. The VPS that's running with all the strategies on is there to demonstrate all the strategies. You wouldn't run them all at once because you'd be massively over leveraged. Mind you, you're over leveraged, but you are also trading multiple strategies. So some will bank while others won't. So there's pluses and minuses for all of them. What's your thoughts on oil, Baggy? Oil is going up. I don't know with oil. It's confusing the hell out of me. This is where I wanted to long it. I didn't, because I've got slaughtered on this drop. So yeah, looks like it's good. Looks like it's coming back up into here. When it gets back up into there, though, I don't know if we're going to come back down and test this level or if we're going to go. So I'm not really interested in it at the moment. But there was your extension entry, propulsion gap fill, off now to come and do all this lot. Along, I would be oil. See the Dow reversing or continuing down. JC. So Dow's just popping back up into resistance and to a weekly level, old weekly level. So we're just retesting this high, this low. Expected it a little bit. The Dow's difficult to read at the moment. We've got all these targets to the upside on the Dow. It's very tricky to gauge where the stock market's going at the moment. We've broken down, so we're kind of in an ascending wedge pattern at the moment, which is very tricky because it gives you the opportunity to put in a new high, but obviously you can also put in a new low and come back down. So it's very difficult to understand where the market wants to go at the moment. If you look at things like the DAX, we are stuck completely sideways. We just can't break this channel that we're in at the moment. So as we're getting up there on the DAX, I'll be looking to short it back down into this gap fill. The Dow is very similar in the way that it's traded in a range, but the range is much bigger and wider. And they've just broken to the downside. So see, we're filling these propulsion gaps to the downside. That one's kind of done. So I think it's got a little bit more downside on it. Yeah, definitely. But right now, back up into there. But you would expect this to be dropping off the back of US dollar news. Whipping post. Your fave metal just blessed me. I think I might get a gold tooth. Want some bling? Got some bling. What's gold up to? Oh, big drop. Yeah, it's just a US dollar cross, as I keep saying. So US dollar's just pumped. This will dump. Watch this gap fill, 200% ADR today for a push back up. I'm in one position waiting on Euro New Zealand dollar to pop. So I just got a ton of profit on the table and over here. Cent. Oh, I've got a load of profit running. Oh God, that's massive. I've got a load of profit running on the Fiddle Crest account at the moment. You can see it. I'm just considering whether or not to bank it or not. $2,000 here. So I could bank $2,000 and go into like 0.3% drawdown. But most of this is on Canadian long and US long. So the question is, are we going to rally, continue to rally on the US dollar and the Canadian dollar and get a 200% ADR day? So I could turn that into like 4%. I'm only 2 days into this account, so kind of playing it a bit cautious. But we'll see. I'm going to let them run for a minute. Dow is pulling back a little bit off of that high. Euro New Zealand, David, sorry. You were talking about? Yeah, so got one on Euro New Zealand at the moment. Not going anywhere. Massive drop. That was we looked at this as 2.5 ADR, wasn't it? Something like that. Was it 160? That's dropped 350. So 320 is 2 ADR. So yeah, about 2.25, 2.5 ADR drop there. So be looking for a pullback up into there at least. Just waiting on that at the moment. Those people that criticize the strategy are the ones who are impatient and want profits right now. They think it's a race, but don't realize it's a marathon. Yeah, exactly. That's not just my strategy. That's all strategies. That's what we do, isn't it? We system hop. That's our job. Is system hopping until we find the strategy that works for us. But no one gives any strategies long enough, unfortunately, to actually work out for them. So just our impatient being. Europe, very clever. Your approach to the markets is unbeatable. It is beatable. Trust me, it is beatable. The markets will, as soon as you think you've cracked the markets, they will show you that you haven't cracked them. And they will come back and kick you in the butt very hard. Tim, I'm still long crude oil, 6 positions with my catastrophic stop loss calculated around half monthly net profit. Quite a bit lower, average around 7,600 or so on oil. Averaging 76. Yeah, so you're quite a way away. The good thing about that is, if that's your average, if if this is market structure going in now, you're going to be quids in at $85 a barrel. When we get back up to 83 to 85, that'll be a monster profit. I think that's going to 75, but I'm not 100% convinced on it now. This has dropped so fast and so hard. I was looking for the bounce, sort of like that, and it just collapsed. 2 days, it just dropped unexpectedly for 2 days. So I reckon they're going to pull back on this, at least up into there, but I get the feeling we might come back down. So I just get out when you can, really, on it. Oil isn't for position trading. Same as gold is not for position trading. It's too volatile and too tricky to read. So not manipulated in the same way as FX. Much more difficult to trade. Probably look to hedge it if the EA gives a signal on a strong push up. Yeah, you might be in it for a while. I don't know, though. I mean, if you look at the structure on it, look at how long it took to put that move in, and then look at how long it took to put that move in, and then look at what we're doing now. Yeah, so that move there, that move there, that move there. Visualize it into the future. Yeah, you're probably looking at somewhere in the region of, so what's that, the 7th of March to the 20th of March. So 3 week. It seems to be going in 3 week cycles, roughly 3 to 4 weeks. So you'll be back up there by the end of May if it's going to do a market structure move like that. So it's not actually that bad. You'll probably be out of it in 2 to 3 weeks. Knowing oil, yeah, took 2 days to do that. If it takes 2 days to do that, you'll be out on Tuesday next week. Could do anything, this thing. It's just, it's just so unpredictable. Nice reversion going in on DAX at the moment. Sorry, Dow. We should be getting a drop on this. Right, so let's have a quick look at the RSIs. I'm going to go into the weekend flat. This is very bizarre. Not used to it. Is that H1? Is that 1 hour M5 strategy that banked 11%? Yeah. Yeah, so this is H1 M5. Not normal week, obviously. It's a good week. Right, so H1, talking about H1s. H1 M5s, Aussie dollar Swiss. So hourly RSI extension up at the 70-ish, nearly 75, and that's whisker away from giving a signal for a short. It is an ADR reversal already anyway up here, so it's a good spot to get in. Lovely big propulsion move. So, you know, the bigger, the faster that move, the more likely it is to return. We've had a very big, strong run up to fill that propulsion gap. We're going to come back down and fill some of these. We may not get back all the way down to there. It depends what happens with this Swiss franc, but the euro I'm expecting to power up, which will drag the Swissy with it. So the Swissy should drive the Aussie dollar down. So I think there's a very good probability of a short, at least 50% of that move. So that's a really good opportunity to get in on that extension there. If it goes a little bit further, comes up into that high or into the monthly high, which is the purple line, that would be a great short as well. CAD Swiss extended on the hourly, 200% ADR now. This is the highest RSI extension we've had for a while on this CAD Swiss. Obviously, this is the perfect storm. We've had a massively weak Swiss franc all day, and now we've just had huge Canadian dollar moves off of the negative unemployment figure, or rather the unemployment figure dropping. So this is obviously extended way beyond normal. There's tons and tons of propulsion gap targets to the upside that we haven't touched. We've left all these ones from back in March, which we've never got back to. The Canadian dollar has just been collapsing off the back of the oil prices, and the Swiss franc has been benefiting from runs based on the banking problems. So this could well start to unravel now, as oil may have found its bottom and might start to rally. We've just had good unemployment figures. So Canadians possibly now starting a rally, but last time we were up here was up here. We've got this kind of extension previously, like that, opposite direction, and then we got a big pullback. So highly likely that we're going to pull back into these areas here. What we could see though is a flag break up into these areas to test these first, and this is kind of 3 ADR away. So it's very tricky, but I would be very happy to short that. In fact, I have got a short on it. Just based on the fact that the Swiss franc will power up at some point. So CAD Swiss is a good opportunity for a short. Again, massive ADR extension. Euro CAD dropped to the downside. We've had a weak euro off of the back of the interest rates. The market wasn't happy with 3.75. They wanted 4. They didn't get it. So they've had to scale out of some of those positions. I think that will continue to rally though. So again, it's all going to come down to oil and what happens with the Canadian dollar. Very little targets to the downside on this. We have got this one down here, left a beautiful one up there. So looks like a good one. Nice extension on RSI on the hourly. So again, looking for pops from down here. Yeah, so pop, pop, pop. Looking for that move next on the Euro CAD. In fact, I'll be getting into that one very shortly. Actually, no, I won't. I'll be getting into it. It's not updated, is it? Okay. I'll be getting into that here. So just about to get a reversal of that on that very shortly. That'll be a first entry long on that one. Very nicely extended on the 5-minute as well. So Euro CAD, good opportunity for a long. Be getting into that one. We'll be getting into a CAD Swiss short, Euro CAD long, Pound Swiss, and New Zealand Swiss shorts as well. So the other extensions we got on the euros are the pound. So the euro pound extended to the downside, just coming down to a monthly low. So there's monthly low, previous month low. So we're just coming down to tap that. Beautiful targets to the upside. Good looking long opportunity. Euro pound is a very low ADR. It's 48 ADR. Doesn't move a massive amount. So as you can see, we're in a big old range and have been since March. We're back at range lows. So this is where you want to start longing it. Euro pound. Euro New Zealand, again, nice bounce potentially at the previous monthly high. Big propulsion gap targets to the upside. We've got lots of unfilled targets to the downside and this big one down here as well. So again, like the euro long, New Zealand, no reason why that should be particularly strong. So the euro should be able to bounce back from here. I don't think we're going to get back down there, not for a while. So that looks like a good looking long opportunity as well. We did think that here as well, and all we got was a flag and a break. So this is kind of a profit take. This is a 38 retracement on this one. So it's deep enough to be a profit take move. There's my fib. Oh my God. New terminal. Just need to set this up. So 38 retracement there. You can see, so that was a profit take move on that move there. So kind of a flag and a break. So there is a possibility that this might go a little bit deeper, but we'll see where we get to on it. I kind of like it from where it is, to be honest, because it's this area of resistance. So we've got this nice accumulation there. We've got this big accumulation or balance in there. High, 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 broke it, tested it. This is the second test of this level here. So good chance for it to bounce up to there before it has another run up at trying to break that level. If it does break that level and go, i.e. if you go long, as I've gone long here, and it doesn't go up, you'll be looking for a push back down into support here somewhere, or back down into that propulsion gap. So you'll probably be in maybe 3 or 4 positions before. But I mean, if it does that, you're going to be stuck down at stupid levels on the RSI. So it's highly likely it's going to go in probably 1, maybe 2 positions before it pulls back. So it looks good. Euro New Zealand. Not massively extended though at the moment. Pound Swiss. That is. So that's actually already pulled back, I think, isn't it? Yeah. So we've tapped straight up into that resistance, 200 ADR. Started to pull back. Beautiful targets to the downside. Looking at it returning back down to that yesterday's high at some point. It's just taking out that level there at the moment. So highly likely that's going to come down. We need some Swiss franc strength to come through with that euro. But that's very extended on the RSI above the 75 level. So good looking short, already in one, as you can see, that red line. So just waiting for that to drop. New Zealand Swiss is the same story, massive extension to the upside. RSI looking for that pullback. So it's exactly the same trade as that one there. Yeah, so this trade here, RSI extension, profit take. Don't care whether it does that or that afterwards. That's the move. This one is very extended. We got a big, strong push, tiny flag, push, tiny flag, push. No profit take at all on this move yet. So this is probably where the move's going to start from and come back down into this area. Probably going to come all the way back down to here at some point. But if this is going to be a pullback, you're just going to take your profit there before it goes. If it is a reversal, fine. So your choice when you get into these, whether you hold them as swings all the way back down, or whether you just take the small profit as I do and just bank it regularly. US dollar CAD, big extension to the downside, nicely embedded. Not massively extended this. This is the tricky one because obviously we just had positive news on both of these. So it's who's the stronger out of the two. Obviously the Canadian dollar at the moment is weak off the back of oil, but that is starting to rally now. So this has just broken down below all of these lows though, and it doesn't seem to be stopping. So we're sitting in propulsion at the moment, which we're getting a reaction from. So looking for it to push back up into there. Not quite extended enough for me to get in as yet, but I will be getting into it if it pushes any further down. And we've got US dollar Swiss. Big extension to the upside, straight into propulsion, rejecting out of 200 ADR at the moment, looking for it to come back down into that area at some point there. Not massively extended at the moment. Would like it a little bit higher, but we'll probably go from there. At least with a pullback. If it is going to continue up back into this area here. So there's all your hourlies. The 4 hourlies went through all of these this morning, but everything that you can see that is extended on the hourlies is also extended on the 4 hour. So we've covered everything basically. So everything I've just covered on the hourlies, some of those are extended also on the 4 hour. So it's either a 4 hour mean reversion or a 1 hour mean reversion, whichever you want. Same stuff. 10 past 2. So the the Dow has just rallied a little bit off the back of that news, not really going anywhere. Let's see what these US dollars are doing. So pulling back a little bit on the initial move. It is more kind of pausing though than pulling back. So it does look like we've got some continued strength on these. Canadian dollar's going sideways as well. These are all holding up pretty well. So might not see any retracements on these today. We'll see. Jason, when shall we sell Aussie Swiss? Whenever you want. When you get a reversal alert, basically. So under there. So just wait for some weakness to come through. 150 ADR at the moment. So if you're using the EA, you would have already been in it on that candle there. So that would have been your reversal alert there. And then we pushed up, took that liquidity out. So that is now your next reversal alert, which is actually lower than the previous one. So up to you. But ADR reversals I usually target around about a third of an ADR. So you'd be looking at somewhere in the region of 22 pips to the downside. So whenever you want to, really. But you're not looking for much, that sort of movement. Down into here, probably into that accumulation, which is where London started the rally. Gold, already done gold, fella. It's coming down because the US dollar's pumping. You've missed it. Gold was a sell this morning. And it's gone down. So we had an RSI extension there and then up there, back down. So you just had a reversal alert on it. And we'll be coming down in to fill this gap. So 200 ADR. So you still got around about half an ADR a downside on it. But obviously you're chasing a trade here. If you jump in short now, you're chasing it, it might well do it. It then, again, it might just come back up into that propulsion and then come down. So if you go short here and it doesn't work, you can take a second short up there and wait for it to come down. Pound yen. Sideways at the moment. So the entry on that one was here. Exit. So we filled that propulsion gap. We've got more downside down to there. And we've got upside up to there. So, I don't know, up or down. Plan for it. Trade it in whichever direction you fancy and get out. Sorry to be vague, but I really have got not got a crystal ball. So it is going to go up or down. So if you're going to get into a trade here, go long there. If it goes there, get out. If it doesn't go up and it goes down, get in again down there and wait for it to go up there. So you get in there, average there, take that profit. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go and watch the bootcamp. All explained. Bootcamp's on the website. Right. That's all I've got on the analysis side. So all the ADRs, obviously, most of these Swiss francs are either going to play out today or we're just going to, we're done and we're going to accumulate for the session. So if we accumulate for New York or we flag for New York, that's what we do. It could continue to push, obviously, especially with the Canadian and the US. These could push higher. We've had a couple of 300% ADRs recently, not often, but you know, where we are here is where we tend to get to on a big fundamental news. So there's a high probability of an A-shaped recovery on them. There's also a high probability of a flag break on them. So one or the other is going to play out. So if you're going to play these short, get in. And obviously just wait and see what happens. Let me just get my other account open one sec. So I've basically got Aussie Swiss on short. Looking for it to come back down. So my entry is at big round number. I didn't realize I've entered at a big round number. 60 basically. So my entry's there, big round number. So this is another good reason to take this as a short look. If you look at where we are, if I could select that line. That is your big round number, 60. So you can see we tested. I can't really see. So tested it, slammed through it, testing it. So if we're continuing short, this is your short. All these propulsion gaps to the upside, there's some really old ones up here that haven't been filled at all. So big drop to the downside. Yeah, so I'm in Aussie Swiss short and I'm in pound Swiss short as well on the Swiss ADRs. So I'm in that one short. That's an H1M5 as well. So again, just looking for shorts back down into there. David, any update on how the R&D on the new strategy with the WRBs is going? Haven't done anything at all this week. Nothing. Been busy on other things. I'm trying to get this propulsion gap and support resistance indicator done for MT5. I'm having all sorts of problems with it. Array out of range errors, all sorts of stuff. MT5 is just crap, utter crap, basically. So I can't get it working. I'm on the verge of giving up. I can't be bothered with it. There's so few people use MT5. Look at it. I mean, it just takes forever to do anything, MT5. It's awful. And when you've got something that's doing a 1,500 bar look back, it just can't handle it. So, I'm asking for M15 gold. I'm still asking for M15 gold. This isn't my terminal. I've got 3 MT5s. They all do the same thing. They're crap. So I keep getting messages saying, your indicator's too slow. Please recode it. Piss off, MetaTrader. Up your software and make it better. It's crap. It's not working. Oh, there they go. Oh, just as I hit the H1 button, it decides to load M15. So it's working. This is all fully working now. The indicator's working. MetaTrader doesn't. So I've been working on this all week. It's just buggered. Wow. This really isn't wanting to work today, is it? Well, there you go. So it's not working. MetaTrader's decided to crash. Shut that down. Chart. So this is the indicator, right? So it's all working exactly the same as the MT4 version. I've limited it to 500 bars on the propulsion gaps. Yeah, so it works. Wasn't this bad earlier, but so yeah, it works. Everything's working absolutely fine. Except it's just unbelievably slow. 6.2 earthquake just hit Japan. That hasn't come through on the feed yet. Usually stuff like that comes through on the feed straight away. So yeah, so basically it's all working, look. But it is so unbelievably buggy. And I'm not sure whether it's MT5 or what it is, but look how long it takes to load and draw. Which build of MP5 am I using? I don't know. I don't get a choice. MT5 just updates to the latest one. So this is 25th of March, build 3661. So 3661. This is why I just give up with MT5. It is just rubbish. Latest MT5 build won't even load some of the indicators or experts. I know, just dump it. Everybody that's trading on MT5, just switch to MT4. You will never have a problem. It's crap. So, and the amount of time I sell this indicator for $49, right? I must have spent $2.5 grand's worth of my time this week trying to build the bloody thing. It's just not financially viable for me to put any time and effort into it. And then when I do, I have to support it for people. And then all I ever get is people with MT5 moaning because they've got problems with MT5. It's not the indicator, it's MT5. It's just awful. So just don't use it. There is absolutely no reason, unless you're trading synthetic indices, in which case you're never going to make any money anyway, so you might as well go and get a job in McDonald's, to use MT5. Because every broker under the sun offers MT4. Just stop using MT5. So I am struggling to try and get it finished today. I'm not going to because I can't be bothered, to be honest. So I will pick it up again next week. But unfortunately, all the development I've been doing on the new strategies my entire time has gone into trying to develop that MT5 version of the support resistance indicator. So there you go. There's where my development is. It's sidelined. So, and this is the problem. I'm getting so fed up with it. I want to get this new strategy built, this new EA built, and so that I can get on with some proper testing on it. And this stupid indicator is stopping me doing it. So it's just annoying me at the moment. I'll get there. I'm toying with the idea of just employing a coder and just start again with this, please, and build it from the ground up again. And don't come back to me until you've got it 100% working and it loads within seconds. And I bet he'll never come back to me because it's not possible. I think I'm asking too much. I'm just asking too much of MT5. I'm asking it to do something it just hasn't got the balls to do. It literally hasn't got enough processing power. And that's the other thing that annoys me about MT5, yeah? Just while I'm on the rant about MT5. You go into the strategy tester. That's not the strategy tester. You go into the strategy tester. That's not the strategy tester either. That is. And you know, look at my machine. Look at my beautiful 20-core CPU machine, 12th gen i7. It allows me to use one of my 20 cores. Why build a piece of software that can multi-thread, but only allow the person to use one thread, unless you install a separate piece of software that allows MT4's cloud network to access all the CPUs on your machine? I mean, it's just that you just have to think about these people that run MetaTrader and think, what planet are you living on? You build a piece of software to have a hideous graphical user interface that requires massive CPU usage, but let's limit them to only use one of their cores. So yeah, MT4 all the way. Earthquake was at least 6 hours ago. All right, okay. So that doesn't appear to have really done a lot to the yen, does it? You would, if it was something that was particularly catastrophic, you'd see an impact on the yen, but there isn't anything. I don't think we need to worry about that unless there's a bigger one and it creates a tsunami and wipes out half of Japan. In this case, then you might have a problem getting out of your yen positions. You might want to reduce risk over the weekend. If it's not worth it, dump it. Yeah, I'm very close to. If it weren't MT5, I'd offer Diamond. Yeah, exactly. It's just, stuff just doesn't work. I don't know how they screwed it up so much, but they did. They just managed to screw it up. Eddie 209 likes MT5. But do you use MT4? That's the key. it's like people say, oh, why don't you develop for TradingView? Because I don't use it. I don't not like it, I just don't use it. But when you have a piece of software where you have an option of MT4, the stable platform that's been around for 15 years, has worked for 15 years, is super fast and never has a problem, or MT5, the one they bought out 10 years ago that has never worked, is always auto-updated, they break it on a regular basis, has half the indicators that work and is half the speed. I don't understand why people, when they have the choice of two pieces of software that are identical, they use the one that doesn't work. I just don't get it. Why do you use MT5? Someone's got to enlighten me as to why they use MT5 over MT4. Because logically, I can't see any reason why you would. It just doesn't make sense. So anyway. Unless you're forced to by your broker, in which case I would say there's a couple of hundred brokers out there. Switch. There's no reason to use it on prop because all prop firms support MT4 or MT5. And if they don't support MT5, use one that does. Very simple. But then maybe that's just my stupid logical brain thinking far too simplistically. I don't know. Where would you recommend someone learn MQL5 from? I don't know, the internet. There's courses on Udemy is a good place. If you go to Udemy, you can learn pretty much anything you like on Udemy. Whoops. And they've got a sale on at the moment. I'd use MQL4 programming, not 5, unless you want to get into loads of strife. There you go. Forex algorithmic trading course. Build a Forex robot. It's loads. That's probably the best. I don't know. You'd have to look at the reviews and stuff, but can you sort it by reviews? Most highest rated. There you go. That one, 4.9. There's only 2 reviews though. That one, there you go, 4.8. 972 reviews. The ultimate algo trading course. 35 quid. By Enrico Lambino. He's got the word Lamborghini in his name, so he must be good. Oh yeah, $15.99. There you go. Really cheap. Yeah. The problem you'll find when you're trying to learn anything, especially in coding, what the problem with coding is you only need 1/10 of what you can do with coding. So whenever I want to build anything in any language, there's always a core that you need to know to be able to build something. But then there are thousands of ways to do the same thing. So what you'll find is you're better off learning what you need to learn to do what you want to do than learning everything. So if you do a course that lasts for 6 months on learning everything about MQL programming, for example, you'll probably find you'll only ever use 1/10 of it, and 9/10 of it you'll never even touch. So you'll spend 4 months learning something where you actually only need to learn that much. But you don't know what you need to learn until you start building it. It's a bit like web design when I build websites and things like that. You don't need to know 99% of the stuff because there's pre-built blocks, plugins, and all sorts of stuff out there that does it. So you just need to know what you need and then you use what you need. So you research what you want. ChatGPT is probably your best place. So if you ask ChatGPT to build you a trading robot to do this, it will start you off with the code and then you can cobble it together with bits and pieces of code. But you need a basic understanding of what the init bit is, the dinit bit is, etc., etc. So the structure, what variables are, arrays, that sort of stuff. You need to learn all of that. But other than that, there's so much that you don't need to know that you will get taught. It's very hard. To be honest, the best thing to do is go to freelancer.com and get someone to build you one. They'll do it for $200 or $300. Then you haven't got to learn how to code, have you? Much easier. Japan, no tsunami warning issued. All right. I think we'll be all right. But you never know. It might happen again. After earthquakes, you get more earthquakes, don't you? So backtest on the MT5 emulator, real spreads. Wouldn't worry about it. The only reason you need to use real spreads is if you are trading M5 or M1. If you're trading any time frame above that, which you should be if you want to be profitable, spreads don't come into the equation. Look at the spread on the pound yen. Yeah, it's 2-ish. So all you do is in the strategy tester on MT4, you select 2. Okay. The variance of spread is going to make the 0.005 difference on my results. And if you really want to be thorough with your back testing, test it on 2, rerun the whole thing on 5 and see what the difference in the P&L is. If it can't survive on 5 and it does survive on 2, chuck the strategy. It's not robust. So come on, keep throwing the MT5 reasons you should use MT5 at me and I can argue every single one of them. Someone's going to come up with US dollar CAD, ADR. Someone's going to come up with testing multiple pairs at the same time in the strategy tester. All right, I'll give you that one. The ability to be able to use any broker's data for testing. Can't do that in MT5. Same reason I'm still on Windows 10. Yeah, exactly, Peter. I've updated to Windows 11 and it annoys the hell out of me. I've got 3 monitors running. I've got a 45-inch, 48-inch monitor in front of me, 42-inch monitor in front of me, 2 22s either side of me, sideways. Whenever I move my windows around the screen, it comes up and says, do you want this positioned here next to that one? Do you want to do this, that, and the other? I said, no, I just want to put this window over here. Like, I'll try and put this window over here, right? Look at it. I don't want you to do it full screen. I'll put it up here. Do you want me to go there, there, there? Do you want to go there, there, there? No, I don't. I just want to stick the thing where I want to stick it. Windows 11. Bloody annoying, isn't it? Anyway, we're going to be talking about trading. Wow, the Dow's taken off. Sorry, the market opened while I was talking away. ORB on the Dow, pre-market 15 has gone long. Let's have a quick look at the Dow, where we're going. I wasn't meant to be on for the Dow today because I was expecting it to be a nice quiet open. But so far, we seem to be having a large push. So I've just got a trade on the Dow on the other account. Let me just quickly switch over accounts. Okay, so we're approaching ADR on the Dow. So these propulsion gaps to the upside on the Dow, we've got multiple gaps here. We've got one at 200 ADR. We've got this big one from 175 all the way down to there. And then we've got that one there from basically 100 ADR. So we're pushing up into this propulsion area now. So if we're going to continue this move to the downside, this is where I would start looking for shorts. We've just taken out the previous day's high, yesterday's high, which is there, and previous day's low. So that's where we pushed down into, and then we pushed back up into that area there. So there's liquidity sitting there on everybody that shorted yesterday as well. So we see how far this can travel. Your opening range break, basically, if you took the 5 or the 15 pre, huge profit again today. I've done my fib, isn't it? So the 15-minute pre-market. I just have to quickly set my fib back up again. So 2. Go 4. That's not right. Is that right? 1.5. 5. Three, 4. So yeah, 1.5 R on the pre-market 15. If you took it, nice quick profit there today on the opening range breakout. Very good. So tell us what you really think about MT5. Yeah, sorry. It's just that every problem I've ever had building indicators or EAs ever has always been converting them to MT5. It just doesn't work. Because even though the logic and the coding is the same, it's not the same. The coding, there's different variations in language which cause problems where you have to change things. But the way things are done in MT4 and the way things are done in MT5 is completely different. So what you have to do is load up bits of MT4 and then import it into the MT5 version. But invariably, it doesn't work. So you end up really having to not so much start again from scratch, but it's quite often easier and faster because you just have to code things differently. It's just different. Just different. I can't quite explain it. Anybody that's tried to do it will know what I'm talking about, but it's just a pain in the backside. So there's your 5-minute opening range at the moment. So potentially continuation break of that, but you are breaking straight up into ADR look and into the monthly resistance, which previous support. So this looks like a very good looking short spot if we're going to continue this move down. So that propulsion gap here, if you look at these propulsion gaps individually, that one there, they pulled back into that all the way up to there. So that is pretty much filled. So if you take that out of the equation, this propulsion gap here, that one there, is where we're sitting now. So if you class that as done, you've got a propulsion target to the upside and one up there, which could well get orphaned if we are going to dump on these indices. This is exactly where I'd be looking to start my next move down. So potentially good opportunity for shorts on this, but we'll see how it holds up. I get the feeling what we're probably going to do today is something along that line. I don't think we'll get a massive move, but you never know. Let's have a quick look at what the US has done. So US dollar CAD's coming down. A little bit more movement to the upside on the US dollar. So strong US dollar still by the looks of things. Again, you would expect the indices to be dropping on this. Canadian dollar still rallying against the yen, still rallying against the Swiss. Still pushing. So still got a strong CAD, still got a strong US dollar. Gold will be coming down again as well. John, can the market reversal alerts EA be set up to trade reversals at major support resistance? No. If not, do you know of any EAs that can do this? No, but I'm building one at the moment. It's another, again, it's another one I've got on the, got so much. If I didn't do live rooms, I'd be doing a lot more strategy development. So this is a support resistance EA that I've been building, which trades support resistance basically. Not finished by a long shot. I'm not even sure actually if this version works, but I'm building one at the moment. But it's ADR hit on the Dow. There you go, ADR on the Dow. Aussie dollar New Zealand's just hit ADR as well. So I just got to regenerate the data on this because CAD yen has hit ADR. So big strong pushes on these Canadian and US pairs again. You ready? So this does very similar to the indicator that I've just released, which has got the support resistance. Please don't forget to add RN function. What's that? Whoa. So yeah, basically what it does is it will trade around round number. Could do round number one, I suppose, but I don't really use round numbers. So yeah, basically it will just trade around support resistance areas, but it's not finished yet. So it doesn't use the market reversal alerts EA. I'm looking for triggers on it. So the only trigger I'm using at the moment is open above, close below. So basically that takes into account hits. So if you got a shooting star, for example, that's your entry. Or if you trade above it and then close below it again, that's your entry. So support and resistance obviously is never to the pip. It's around about the area. So that's basically what I'm doing. I've got another version of it as well. Again, this is all in development, which I keep getting sidetracked. But this version works off of blocks around the areas. When it loads, which basically will trade a zone. So you can set a zone up around the area. So that's last week's high. So you can set a zone based on ADR before and after it, where it has to trade out of that zone. So it has to be within there, basically, as it comes down. So it will take bounces at the area as well. So it's the same strategy. You know, it's support and resistance, basically. So it's replacing the RSI with just solid levels. RSI is dynamic support and resistance, if you like, in the fact that it's extended conditions before a retracement. This is solid. So I'm building this one at the moment along with other stuff. So I don't know. There's probably EAs out there. Whether they do what you want to do, I build all of my strategy development is done around position trading. So virtually all of the ones you'll find out there EA wise will either be grid systems which don't work or stop loss based. So I'm building an EA that allows you to use anything. So you can use position trading strategies with it. You can use stop loss strategies with it as well. Multiple entry criteria. So all my EAs, I always build them to be very, very, very flexible, which has got its downsides because obviously people then get a bit confused with how to set them up because there's too many options. But I believe in giving people, you know, they can test what the hell they like and do what the hell they like with them then, rather than being strict where you get told what risk you want to use. That's fine. That's it. That's what it does. So that's what most of the ones out there, they're all curve fit. That's why they don't give you options to change stuff, because they've curve fit them to give you a profit curve that isn't repeatable in the future, which is why they don't work. Because you can't test different variations of them. So I'm building that, but it's not ready by a long shot yet. But there are others out there. When will my support resistance EA be ready? I don't know. Sometime this year. I don't rush stuff out. If it doesn't work, I've got hundreds of EAs, literally hundreds of EAs that I've built for testing strategies. If they don't work, I throw them away because they don't work. So if I develop this and it doesn't work, I won't be keeping it. It won't be out. Got to be able to make it profitable. Blimey. This Dow's really going for it. So we're up at ADR on the Dow. So that's the propulsion gap filled. This one here. You can see it's grayed out. So that propulsion gap is now filled. So potential for a drop from here. Let's just have a quick look at what the Nasdaq's up to. Wow. Data I don't appear to have any data for the NASDAQ. Weird. So the NASDAQ's pushed up as well into previous day's high. Was that yesterday? That's yesterday's high, sorry. We're just rejecting off yesterday's high. So there's your non-farm payroll. We've just basically taken the liquidity out of that high. So again, potentially set for that gap fill downside as well. So the Dow and the NASDAQ, have to say, look in very nice areas for shorts at the moment, but could well be a momentum play that just carries on today. So just be a bit careful. Brian, options all good. It requires people to understand the quirks of the market so they can make educated decisions on how the EA runs. Yeah. But that's why I release videos, detailed videos, strategy videos with everything that I do. I'm not the sort of person that just pumps out products onto the market. I tell people why I've released it, what it's done, the logic, the theory, and everything behind it. So you can make an educated decision on whether or not it's for you before you look at it in any more detail. Whereas all the other crap you find out there on the marketplace, most of it is just all curve fit rubbish. And you don't know what strategies behind it. I've emailed people on the marketplace and said, that EA looks fantastic. What strategy is it running? I'm not telling you. It's the secret sauce. It's the holy grail. If I told you this, I'd have to kill you. I'm not buying it then. If you're selling the holy grail for $99, I'm not interested. If you can't tell me, if you should never, in my opinion, you should never put an EA or anything on your chart that you don't fully understand exactly what it's doing and why it's doing it. Because at the end of the day, it's your money on the line. So if you don't understand what that EA is doing, why is it executing the orders? Why is it taking an order there? What's the logic behind the entry? What's the condition? Why is it doing what it's doing? If you don't understand that and people won't explain it to you, you shouldn't be using it. You know, it's like people go out and find all these EAs on the floating around all over the web and they stick it on their chart and all of a sudden it takes 20 trades and they're like, what the hell? I just lost 7% of my account. It's like, well, what did you expect? What did you expect it to do? I don't know. Well, why did you put it on your account then? You know, people who just assume that what they see is what they get. And it's not the case in this industry, unfortunately, 99% of the time. Lovely targets to the downside on this Dow for a mean reversion, but this thing certainly looks like it's not able to find any sellers today. So I didn't check actually earnings today, did I? Should have checked earnings this morning. We had AMC pre-market and we had Lemonade aftermarket. Lemonade, Coinbase, Block, Apple. What happened to Apple? Not good. So I presume Apple must have missed target. What also happened with AMC? AMC got put positive. Those are your big earners that we're going to affect today. Coinbase, I suppose, as well. Miss on Coinbase. So, yeah, doesn't quite explain why the Dow's rallying so much. Not quite sure why we got such a bullish market today, but we have. But you'd expect the opposite, but anyway. This is the market. It does what it wants. Afternoon, Steve. It's Lambo Oil. Is oil on the move? Wow, oil is on the move. Right, this is a brand new MT4. Why have I got data issues on this again? That took ages to update. That M15 chart's not updating. Secret source, Lambo Oil, yeah. But talking about oil, it's off. back up into that propulsion. So watch this accumulation here for resistance, but oil is off. Dow is just starting to roll, but oil is certainly going. So really wish I'd have taken that propulsion gap fill trade. This is the strategy that I'm working on, yeah, that I was talking about last week or the week before. When we've got a situation as we have on oil here, where there is no more propulsion gap targets to the downside, that last propulsion gap target that gets filled is the long. As long as you've got propulsion gap targets to the upside, there is no reason to sell oil, only to buy it. That is exactly the strategy that I'm working on with wide range bar, with the wide range bar propulsion gap, whatever you want to call it, indicator, is to basically trade these final fills long as a swing. Oil is rallying because it's done everything down here. It's finished. It now needs to go long. There you go. There's your oil. Right. I'm going to leave it there today. I've got nothing else to particularly look at. Everything out there, obviously, we've covered on the ADRs and the RSIs. So just be aware of all these Swiss francs and everything. They are still pushing at the moment. I've got some shorts on the pound Swiss and a couple of others. There you go, CAD Swiss 125. Good timing. So we're getting up to lovely levels on a lot of these Swiss francs now where we're potentially going to get some drops in. If we don't get the drops today and we just accumulate or we continue to push, then it'll be next week at some point. We'll just have to wait for them to play out. But lots of opportunities to get into new positions today with all these extensions. So I'm not here Monday. It's a bank holiday again. So it won't be here on Monday. So there's no news on Monday. There's no news on Tuesday. The first thing we go into is CPI, straight into inflation figures on Wednesday for the US dollar. So I'm back on Tuesday. I will be around and watching what's going on Monday, but there's not really going to be anything happening. So not going to be doing any trading on Monday, but we'll be back on Tuesday. But there's no news. So the beginning of next week might be a little bit quiet. So just normal inside ADR movement ahead of CPI. So CPI is where it's all going to kick off. Then we've got the rates for the pound. Then we've got PPI following that. And then we've got the GDP for the pound and University of Michigan, which is rubbish. But so yeah, Wednesday and Thursday next week are your core days for news. So all the movement's going to be focused around midweek. So Brian, it's unfortunate, but I have a friend who bought a Mac, bought AMC at $36, seeing it at 5 something. Yeah. AMC, is that what it is at? 5, is it now? Jesus. Yeah, 35 was quite a long time ago. That was in November 21. See, The Walking Dead. No more Walking Dead. That's it. Your one franchise has gone, AMC. The Walking Dead is over. Therefore, you are over until you come up with something else. What's HBO? Is there HBO? Is HBO floated? No. I don't think it is. I was going to say, HBO's got The Last of Us, haven't they? So I'd expect they're doing pretty well at the moment. Anyway, 200 ADR, CAD Swiss. Huge moves on that. Sorry, CAD Swiss has already got 225. Weekly, that was weekly range on the CAD Swiss. Exceeded 125 CAD Swiss. Why are you giving me CAD Swiss again? Might have alerts turned on this. Wow, my terminals. I think my machine's not happy today, to be honest. Everything's lagging today by those things. I've got alerts turned off. That, I don't know what that is. Dual alerts for some reason. My terminal's really slow, this one. I think my machine needs a bit of a cleanup. Right, DAX, Steve. Anyone have a quick look at the DAX? Do that before I go. So the DAX is basically sideways at the moment. We are still sideways. We have been sideways all week. We actually not all week, all month. So this is 2 months ago. This is last month. This is where we are now. Yeah, so we're not going anywhere at all. We are completely stuck sideways. So back up into range highs, we're looking for shorts. We've got the gap fill to complete down here. So I'm pretty sure we're going to short it, but not going anywhere at the moment. Completely range bound. So very, very tricky to trade at the moment, the DAX, especially with opening range breakouts, because you don't have anywhere to go. When you get the ORBs, that initial move is usually it, and we're out. So it's the pre-market 5 or 15-minute opening range breaks which are working well at the moment. There's nothing else is going. We haven't got any room. If you look at the range that we're in at the moment, look at ADR. So this is your range at the moment for the last 2 weeks. That's ADR high, that's ADR low. So literally all the DAX is doing is bouncing up and down within ADR. So at the moment, it's just the case. This is what I was saying on the Dow. This looks like a pretty good short. We're at ADR. So literally short ADR high, buy ADR low at the moment. That's pretty much all it's doing. Nothing much else you can do with it. It's just a sideways wreck. Right, well, that's it for today. Dumped his full retirement in and pulled the handle. Ouch. Always diversify. First rule of investing, diversification. Have a good weekend, everybody. I'll be back on Tuesday. As I say, not here Monday because it's a bank holiday. So back on Tuesday. If you need anything, I'll be in the Telegram group, obviously. Yeah, just keep using the market reversal alerts EA and banking cash. What else can we do? All right, have a good one. I'll see you on Tuesday. If you need anything, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you then. Have a good one.